Hello and welcome to the Nashville Daily Podcast. I'm Stuart Deming.
And I'm Aaron Pennington.
AAA forecasts one of the highest holiday travel years for Nashville.
Metro Council deferred the vote on approving the new Titan Stadium.
Plus, how can you save thousands of dollars this winter on your closing costs on your new home in Nashville?
We'll talk about all of this and more on Nashville Daily. Tis the season to be seen all of the holiday lights throughout Nashville. We're going to be talking about some of our favorites as well as places that we really like to go during this time of the year. As you're driving around and seeing these attractions, it's hard not to notice the amazing homes throughout Nashville. You may find some that you really like. And so if your desire is to get into one of those homes, we have just the person who can get you in them, and that is Brad Reynolds, a real estate agent here in Nashville. If you want to learn about Brad, you can go to thinkbrad.com, or he has an amazing YouTube channel at thinkbrad, so you can subscribe to that.
Whoa.
Think Nashville, think Brad. You
Or
see
think
Nashville.
Or think Nashville, see
Think
Brad.
Nashville, see Brad.
Hey, Brad.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
It is.
There he is.
All right,
in the flesh.
I feel like my time is up.
Are you leaving?
Brad is going to be your
kicking you off?
co-host, and
Okay.
we're going to see where this goes.
Well, if Brad. Okay. Well, I'm surprised that you're here, but I guess we're just going to do the episode, right?
Well, I know I popped up on you boys today, and I have something I want to share. Some Christmas good tidings.
Let's get this
and
mic a little bit closer to you so
Yuletide.
everyone can hear you all right.
So I've got some Christmas cheer I want to spread. What I want to do is for one person who will text me right now, my number's on the screen, 615-856-3270, and it ain't changing, so text me anytime. If you will text me and you'll subscribe to both my YouTube channel, Think Brad,
And our YouTube channel, Nashville Daily Podcast.
as well as theirs, I am offering to pay part of someone's closing costs during the winter months, in the next few months. I know. Never done this before. So if you want to be a part of that, text me, get with me, and I'd love to help you.
So, Brad, according to AAA, this is coming from WKRN, they just released their 2022 holiday travel forecast, and they're estimating 2.6 million Tennesseans will travel 50 miles or more from December 23rd through January 2nd. WKRN goes on to say that is 107,000 more people than last year, and it's the third highest on record for year-end travel in the state of Tennessee.
Wow.
Brad, do you plan on traveling anywhere for this holiday season?
So now that my parents have just relocated from North Carolina, I do not have to get in the car to go anywhere. I will be here. How about you?
I'm actually going to be here in the Nashville region as well, spending most of my time probably in Hendersonville and maybe in Franklin. I'll be all over Middle Tennessee. But you just said that your parents relocated here from North Carolina, and that's a very common theme happening throughout the last decade. About a week ago, we reported from the state of Tennessee that there was a 9% increase of population in the state for the last decade. A lot of people are relocating from New York, California, Illinois, North Carolina, Florida, to come here to Middle Tennessee. And part of that is because of our no income tax state. That's a very big draw. Also, it's a very business-friendly state. We're one of the best business states in the United States.
Absolutely.
But to say all of that, what's happening with the Nashville market? And then we'll zoom into the Middle Tennessee market as well.
So first and foremost, Stuart, Merry Christmas to you. Good to see you. Looking forward to a big 2023 on the Nashville Daily Podcast. The real estate market kind of in flux right now. Every year, end of the year, the market kind of cools off. But after Thanksgiving until really, honestly, almost spring break, you've got people traveling, you've got the holidays, you've got cold weather. People don't want to go outside, which is exactly why it's the time you should be looking, especially if you want to find a deal. Every year I tell people, and I'm screaming it from the rooftops, look in November, look in December, early January, because competition is limited then. In fact, some of the greatest deals I've ever gotten on real estate I've bought myself have come in those months. And when we look at our November numbers, which just came out recently, we had a total of 600 closings for all of Nashville and about 2,100 for all of Middle Tennessee, which is down year over year versus November of last year, but pretty similar to our January numbers. On the whole, sellers are still getting about 98% of list price. So if you're somebody who's coming to town and saying, hey, I want to offer 20, 25% off, it's probably not going to work out for you. And I've had a number of those people in recent months. I've let them do their thing. I've let them make lowball offers. Not one has had success. As we go into 2023, I think it's going to be a big year. Less appreciation versus this year, but will still probably be a pretty solid year overall.
Well, so another prediction in 2023 could be involving the new Titan Stadium. We'll talk about that here in a second. But another prediction that we're talking about before the show is the amount of real estate agents in the Middle Tennessee market. So you said right now at the end of around 2022, there's around 18,000 agents. So what's your prediction of how many agents are going to be left after the 2023 or in the end of 2023?
Yeah. So one of the big themes, I think, in 2023 is going to be a lot of agents are going to get out. Like you just mentioned, we've got about 18,000 total agents between all of Middle Tennessee, so Nashville and all the suburbs. And I do think this year alone, probably 40% of agents, from what I've read, did not sell a single place. So zero, a big old goose egg. Now that can work if you've got a spouse with a great income, but if you're out there by yourself, the average agent historically sells 2 to 3 places a year, 2 to 3. That's pretty low compared to my 50. But I think you're going to have a lot of agents get out, look for other deals, look for other jobs, look for other industries to go in. So that's my big prediction. What you're seeing, too, is you're seeing more activity, more deals, more clients, more closings congregate towards the top agents. We're one of the most agent-heavy cities in the country. For most, it's 80% of the deals get done by 20% of the agents. But here in Nashville, 83% of the deals are done by 14% of the agents. So pretty crazy.
So recently, the Metro Council They did a few things. So they were talking about the Tennessee Titans Stadium and what's going to happen with that here in the future. And the most recent Metro Council meeting that happened last week, they actually deferred the reading of the term sheet for the new Titans Stadium. So we will not have any information on if that's going to go to approval or if that's going to go through the 3 readings through Metro Council until December 20th. So recently, Metro Council had a meeting on December 6th, I believe was the date, and they meet every other week, and they approved a few things. One of the things that they approved was the license plate readers, and there's a lot of controversy behind that. We'll get more into that over the next few days. But then another thing that they approved is the 1% hotel tax increase. So what does that mean? So if you're coming to visit Nashville and you're staying in a hotel, there's going to be an additional tax on your nightly stay at the hotel. But they deferred the reading of the term sheet for the new Titan Stadium. That's going to be happening on December 20th. So the question, Brad, I have for you, will Nashville get a new Tennessee Titan Stadium?
Well, first and foremost, don't you like when you go to a hotel and you think, oh, it's going to be $299 per night,
and then
when you go to check out, it's like $423, and we hope you had a great stay, and it's like, come on, man. I mean, this is getting out of control here.
At least it's not the cleaning fees of Airbnb.
Between the cleaning fees and the occupancy fee and the you showed up fee and this fee and you spilled 1 crumb on the floor fee, it's getting kind of, and I think honestly, that's why so many people are going back to hotels.
Just off topic for a second. So I stayed at an Airbnb in Colorado.
Nice.
And the requirement, they had a glass window for the shower.
Oh, wow.
You had to spongy your own glass window. If not, they'll charge you an additional $25 fee for cleaning the shower.
It's too much.
And I was like, you guys are already making money hand over fist on this.
Did they want you to do your own laundry also?
Pretty much. Well, it's an Airbnb. Of course they do. Laundry. It's not a full service Airbnb.
I mean, am I the maid here too? I mean, what are we doing?
But I digress. So let's talk about the Titan Stadium. Will the city of Nashville have a new Titan Stadium?
Yeah. I mean, I think the goal is still 2026. And I
don't know how they're going to get it done.
Yeah, I don't know, but I know they've got between Manica and Hastings leading the way, Manica being the Kansas City-based architect that they've hired who did the Las Vegas Raiders stadium, and they did the the Warriors, the Golden State Warriors arena in most recent years, and partnering up locally with Hastings. I swear Hastings does.
They are the best.
Yeah, I mean they, shout out to Thomas Miller Partners, my father-in-law and wife's old firm, but Hastings seems to be everywhere.
Yep.
And one thing that I really enjoyed that the Titans put out recently, I don't know if you saw it, was the video with Amy Adams Strunk and one of the Manica representatives and the Hastings. Did you see that video?
It was on their website. No, I haven't watched the full thing yet. I know they were talking about the intentionality of the design and how focused they want it to be on the fan experience.
Oh yeah,
and that's one thing that's very unique to me about the Titans Stadium is the focus on the fan experience. I know it's less seats, and a lot of people have commented or complained on our videos about, well, they can't get a Super Bowl, but I think the NFL will pull some strings to pull that off because in 2019 we had the largest NFL draft in the history of the NFL draft, and so I think the NFL will pull some strings to make that happen. I personally think the stadium's going to get approved. I know there's a lot.
It's done.
I know there's a lot of
legwork
pushback right now, and it's because they've only had the term sheet for a little while. And what's really interesting, and you've probably have listened to our episode that we talked more about what it would cost to just maintain the old Titan Stadium and what it's going to cost.
$1.75 billion.
And it's going to cost $2.1 billion to build a new stadium.
Yeah.
And I know that number is that can change dramatically, but I think the new stadium will be approved. It just makes fiscal sense to have that, and it gets rid of the responsibility of the taxpayer. That's a huge draw as well. But speaking of development, what are some of your developments that you're looking forward to that are going to be breaking ground in 2023?
Yes, there's some great ones out there. Probably the biggest and most important one, 1010 Church Street. I'm sure you just saw where Tony closed on his part.
That's the old YMCA building,
yes,
correct? Yep.
Yes. So he closed on part of it to build his 60-story.
I think, let me get Greg the Google guy on the street.
Greg, show up, man. This is my first time. Let me see you.
1010 Church Street. All right, so talk about what Tony's going to be doing there.
So 1010 Church Street, 60 stories. This is Tony's big building. He's been trying to get that big boy for years. He tried Church Street Park. He tried some other spots, and this will be the one, probably his creme de la creme, his masterpiece. Stuart's got it pulling up there.
I do not have it pulled up.
I'm sorry.
Greg went underneath the street.
Greg, I'm sorry.
He didn't go to Church Street. He went to 10th Avenue.
Guys, I'll be there in a minute.
Oh, is that Greg?
Greg.
That's me.
Oh.
Give me a second.
Oh, okay. So Greg, I think he got to location. So this is the YMCA that Tony just purchased, correct?
Yes. So
and
that
then he
is
also owns this building behind it.
He does, Alcove. So you've got Alcove and Prime, 800 something church and 900
and then he
church.
has one or two of these lots over here by the courthouse.
He's got a lot, but that downtown part of the Y, that swimming pool, all that is being demolished as we speak, along with part of the front part of the building, 60 stories, 750 feet, condos.
60 stories, 750. That's going to be the tallest building in the state of Tennessee.
It will eclipse the LNC Tower, as Tony G has said for
years.
Or
the Batman building, because the Batman building's at 617 feet.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Tony had said for years there was kind of a rule that thou shalt not go above the LNC Tower. And then the AT&T building, 617 feet, did it. And this one will go even higher, 750, truly skyline changing. So that is, look, as a guy who sells a bunch of condos, shout out to Tony Giratana, my man. Love working in your buildings, so keep building.
So the LNC Life and Casualty Tower was built in 1957, and the antenna goes up to 500 feet in elevation, or tall. The roof, which has an incredible view. I don't know if you've been on the top of the LNC, but it has an incredible view of the Batman building or the AT&T building. What's another development that you're really excited for in 2023?
Yeah, and fun fact there on that. So I sell a lot next door in 415 Church Street, the Viridian, and when you go to that 31st floor, the amenity floor, you can look out to kind of the rooftop of the LNC.
We had an office space up there for a while.
Best pool in that. If you're listening to this and you want a condo and you're like, I swim every day, I'm all in on the pool, it is the Viridian, 415 Church Street. But moving on, some of the other projects I'm really excited about. 16th and McGavick. Let's move over to Midtown. 16th and McGavick. We're right off Midtown, almost right near the 21st and West End split. this is a property. If you've eaten DeSano's Pizza, you probably have, and if you haven't, shame on you because it is delicious.
So is it at DeSano's Pizza or is it this parking lot that's right here? So,
So-
let's throw up the computer real quick. We have Greg hanging from a parachute right now
Greg, you there? Looks like Greg is there. So we've got two different properties right there.
because we have the Beeman dealership here.
Yep. So you've got. Let's see here. Let me look at the map here.
Okay, so this is the parking lot. Right here is this
So
DeSano's Pizza. Yep.
DeSano's, and then there's another building there where
Southern Ground.
Southern Ground right behind it. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's
So that's
Zach Brown.
Brown's recording studio.
Yep. So he's already making a fortune, but he's going to be making even more when he closes on this thing. So 29 stories, which will make a huge impact in the
Oh, that's a
skyline.
huge building there.
Hotels and apartments. Hotel on bottom, apartments on top. So unfortunately, I can't sell any of these. But that'll be pretty wild.
So this is the street view of Southern Grounds, and then he has his little storefront here, and then we'll get Greg up to DeSano's Pizza. Greg doing a speedy job right now.
Good job, Greg.
Greg, DeSano's is relocating. Do you know where they're relocating to?
So
Brad?
they are relocating to Germantown,
Okay.
right across from the Sound Stadium.
Oh, that's going to be perfect.
Yeah, what's the,
There's going to be a lot of pizza over in Germantown.
What's the beer hall right across from the stadium there?
Van Elrod's.
That's it. I think it's the building right after that on the north of that. So.
Okay. So speaking of local food, Brad, where is a restaurant that you've eaten locally recently?
You know, I've been hitting Pinewood Social up a lot recently. I'm downtown.
It's been a hot minute since I've been there.
Yeah, well, you need to go. I mean, they do it right from breakfast to lunch to dinner. Shout out to the team there for putting all that together.
What's your favorite thing at Pinewood Social?
You know, I like that breakfast special, the biscuit, the scrambled eggs, the bacon, but the burger for lunch is fantastic too. And I'm a sucker for one of the pastries by the door as you leave. They intentionally put it by the door.
Of course.
So
'Cause
people
it's an
like
impulse
me.
buy. Yes.
And it's hard to go one meal without sugar of some kind. So.
I understand. My favorite thing from Pinewood Social is the avocado toast, which is
yeah.
fantastic.
Fantastic.
I recently ate at the Chef and I did the chef tasting. I had 2 fish dishes, and then I also had a lamb chop and a duck breast. It was amazing with this jalapeno mashed potatoes.
Oh, wow.
And then we did this like apple cider type dessert. It was fantastic. The Chef and I has become one of my favorite places in Nashville. So if you're looking for a great restaurant recommendation, the Chef and I is one of my personal favorites, and Pinewood Social is a great place to eat. Now let's head over to Explorer's Nashville tip of the day. For Explore Nashville's tip of the day, it's a great day to be indoors because of the weather. The weather is bipolar here in Middle Tennessee. If you have not experienced that, you will over the next couple months. But one of the best places to be indoors is the Tennessee State Museum. If you want to learn about the deep history of the state of Tennessee and all the other eras of history of Tennessee, you can learn about that. They have an incredible Civil War exhibit. It's one of my personal favorite museums in the United States. Brad, have you been to the Tennessee State Museum?
I have not. Oh, actually, no.
Have you been to the new one or the old one?
So actually, I have been to the new one before the property opened. My wife's, her dad started a firm locally called Thomas Miller Partners, which is now TMP. They were the architects on the development.
Awesome.
So we got a walkthrough with the state historian.
Oh,
and
that's cool.
My favorite thing there was the old books that they keep on the first floor towards the back, the super old ones. And it was cool. It's definitely the spot to go if you haven't, and you just might learn something about your family there.
And that's Explorer's Nashville tip of the day. Today's episode of Nashville Daily is in part brought to you by Bow Tie Barber Club. If you're looking for a place to get your haircut, your beard trim, your ears waxed, or your nose wax, head to bowtiebarberclub.com. They take care of my beard almost bi-weekly, and so I would highly recommend them. They are my favorite barbershop in Nashville. So Brad, let's get into it. We are in the Christmas season, and recently you had the opportunity to go to Cheekwood and visit the Holiday Lights exhibit. So walk me through everything that you did at Cheekwood for Christmas.
Well, when you've got a 4.5-year-old and a 2-year-old, you better not get too comfortable because you're going to be running the hurry-up offense of whatever you're doing. And that's exactly what we did. But Cheekwood is the place to be this time of year. Lights adorn so many of the trees and the house, and it's pretty wild. I mean, I think they start setting up in like July for it. And if you don't have a Cheekwood membership, I highly recommend it. Go throughout the year, but this is one of the big events. And given that it's been warmer a lot recently, it was packed to the gills. But the fan favorite for the kids by far is the trains exhibit there.
Oh, it's so amazing.
It's. I mean, even as an adult, I'm like, this is really cool. But just loved every minute of it and can't wait to go back next year.
So what are some holiday traditions that you and your family have for Middle Tennessee and the Nashville area?
Well, my parents just moved to town, and my father was asking if we could go door to door singing Christmas carols, and I said,
yeah, certain parts of Nashville, you may get shot.
yeah, I said, probably not this year. Let's key you in on where to go, where not to go there. But honestly, it's just spending time with family. You know, every year is it's a treat. You look back at the year that was, and you look forward to the year that will be. And what a great year this has been, meeting you guys and starting on this podcast. And 2023 is going to be even better.
You were talking about Dickens of a Christmas that happens in Franklin.
Oh, yeah.
This is an activity I don't think you've ever been to before.
I've not.
But it's considered one of the best Christmas festivals in the entire United States. On average, I believe over 100,000 people over the 2-day weekend attend a Dickens of a Christmas in Franklin. That's one thing I would highly recommend to check out next year because the event has already happened. How often do you go to the Gaylord to experience ice and the Christmas lights at the Gaylord?
So I've never done it.
You've never done the lights
I need
at the
to do
Gaylord?
it, and I want to go to what's the event Enchant at the Sounds?
Yeah, it's
Is that still going on?
Yeah, it's
I'm
going
sure
on until I believe January 2nd or January 3rd.
I think that if I have to pick one, I think that's probably the one, Enchant, I would say.
Well, the Gaylord, I'll just talk about my experiences at the Gaylord. I've been to ICE 3 or 4 times. I've seen the Rudolph exhibit once before.
Is it freezing?
It's freezing, but I love it. I feel at home with my big fluffy beard.
See, I don't have a beard, so that might not work for me.
You get a parka. You get to wear a parka with everyone else wearing a parka, and it's a used parka, so it's kind of interesting in that regard. But they do this incredible nativity scene that's absolutely stunning. It's one of my favorite things to see every year. And the cool thing about the Gaylord is it's a free activity. On the weekends, they do have some time limits right now. It's, I think, after 2 p.m. If you're not staying at the hotel, you can't enter the hotel because of how many people are there.
Oh, wow.
But during the weekdays, like on a Monday, Tuesday afternoon, it's a great place to see. It's a great place to walk. To experience the Christmas lights, the waterfalls, and it's just a place like it's very relaxing to go to the Gaylord during this Christmas season. Another one of my favorite attractions for Christmas is probably the pop-up holiday bars. We're going to be talking more in depth about that later this week. And then we'll also later this week talking about the best places to eat on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. But talking about places to eat on Christmas, what's one of your favorite places to eat during this holiday season?
Well, I think I say it every time I'm on the show, and guess what? You're about to hear it again, and that would be Sperry's. Probably a couple different years, Ansley and I, and maybe even the kids this year will pop over there Christmas Eve or the day before, and it's so close to us, and just great ambiance, great food, and you're bound to see somebody you know.
So Sperry's, what's your go-to dish? It's probably a steak.
Filet. Yeah.
Okay. So just walk
But got to get the salad bar.
Walk me through your experience at Sperry's.
Well, you know, when you walk in, you feel like you've kind of been transported back in time.
It does feel that way.
The walls are adorned with old pictures and maps and just really cool things. And I'm usually skeptical of salad bars when I go to places, but you can't.
They're sketchy.
Yes, because you're like, well, how many people have breathed on this before I eat it?
Sneezed on this, yeah.
But at a place like Sperry's, you've got to get this. It's not complete without the salad bars, without the bread, and without a 8-ounce, 12-ounce filet, Oscar style, meaning some crab on top with some hollandaise sauce, and try the bananas Foster at the end, which was invented in New Orleans.
Oh, that's awesome. And then before we recorded, you said that you usually get catering in for Christmas. So where's your go-to place to get catering done?
Corner Market off Hillsborough and Charlotte, and but Food & Co. also. I mean, that's close to my house, and it's a fantastic spot. Plenty of great options in town, but those would be 2 of my favorites.
So, Brad, thank you for joining me for this December recap. I appreciate you coming into the studio. You can learn more about Brad by visiting him at thinkbrad.com or calling or texting 615-856-3270. Please text him the longest hashtag that you can possibly make in regards about Christmas food and what's that, turducken, where you put the turkey and the chicken?
Turducken, John Madden creation, the old turducken there. And if somebody will text me the craziest G-rated hashtag, we might just do a little $25 gift giveaway to one of Fresh Hospitality's restaurants. So do that, check me out, and try and buy before this year wraps up or early 2023 before the crowds come looking. See you soon.
Thank you for listening to Nashville Daily.
To learn more about today's episode, visit NashvilleDailyPodcast.com. And to stay connected, head to our Discord, and you can find the link at NashvilleDailyPodcast.com/connect. Nashville Daily is now offering tours. If you would like to take a tour of downtown Nashville, head to the link in the show notes or find out more details at NashvilleDailyPodcast.com.
Nashville Daily Podcast is an Explore.Nash production, copyright 2022.